Namaskar and good morning to all. On behalf of the Chief Justice of India, judges of the Supreme Court and Supreme Court Bar Association, a very warm welcome to the inaugural function of the Constitution Day celebrations. We are honored by the august presence of the Honorable President of India, Shrimati Droupadi Murmu. We would also like to welcome on the dais the Honorable Chief Justice of India, Dr. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, Honorable Shri Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge Supreme Court of India, Honorable Shri Justice Sanjeev Khanna, Judge Supreme Court of India, the Honorable Minister of State, Law and Justice, Independent Charge, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Learned Attorney General for India, Shri R. Venkat Ramani, and President, Supreme Court Bar Association, Dr. Adish C. Agarwala. I now invite Ms. Susmita Davalkar to recite Pasayadan, a humanitarian invocation written by Sant Jnaneshwar, seeking blessings and well-being for everyone. The prayer is recited in Marathi, and translation in Hindi and English will be visible on the screen.
सुखिया झाला.
Thank you, Ms. Dawalkar. I now request Honorable Shri Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul to give the welcome address.
Honorable President of India, Droupadi Murmu ji, Chief Justice of India, Dr. E.Y. Chandrachud, Brother Justice Sanjeev Khanna, and my brother and sister judges of the Supreme Court, past and present, and of the High Court, Minister of State for Law and Justice, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal ji, Attorney General of India, Shri Venkatramani, President Supreme Court Bar Association, Dr. Adish Agarwal, ladies and gentlemen. As we commemorate the 74th year of eruption of our Constitution, it is my pleasure to welcome you all once again in this year's Constitution Day celebrations. Earlier this year, our Honorable President referred to the Indian Constitution as a living document. The understanding of the Constitution as a living document is one that we were fortunately born into. I thought it was opportune to reflect on how this metaphor has evolved over time, what it means today, and the promise it carries for tomorrow. One of the first instances in which Supreme Court expounded on the meaning of the living Constitution was in the landmark judgment in Prasar Bharati versus Union of India, when Justice Y.V. Chandrachud, as he then was, in his concurring opinion referred to the Constitution as a living organism that required flexibility. This was the context of justifying the constituent power of the Parliament to amend the Constitution while retaining the basic structure. From the idea of the Constitution being flexible, the living Constitution has metaphorized as to how we understand it today, which is that the Constitution is ever evolving. It is capable of adapting to the hopes and aspirations of the public with changing time. Living constitutionalism is best seen in the interpretation of the fundamental rights to life under Article 21 of the Constitution. Over the years, the fundamental right to life has evolved to encompass the right to live with dignity, right to fair trial, access to justice, the right to adequate nutrition, right to education, and several other socio-economic rights. In K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India and others, the Supreme Court recognized the right to privacy as a fundamental right, incorporating the idea of spatial privacy and decisional privacy or privacy of choice. This paved the way for the historic reading down Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, 1860, a year later. Over the years, one thing has remained constant. The exercise of breathing life into the Constitution has largely been seen as a judicial project, in particular of the higher judiciary. My hope for the future is that the conversations about the constitutional values are not limited to the litigation before our courts, but is infused in all spheres, including the private sphere. This dialogue, when extended beyond public forums and institutions, will ensure that we as a society are conscious of and internalize these values, making the Constitution truly come alive. This year's Constitution Day program in many ways reflects that ambition. The first session today discussed Dr. Ambedkar's idea of constitutionalism. We are all aware his commitment to education in vernacular language. One way in which awareness of constitutional values is being built is through the translation and distribution of preamble in a vernacular languages. The second session today will delve into the judiciary's vision in the sphere of infrastructure, human resources and budget. In this regard, the efforts to make a Supreme Court physically and virtually accessible to people with disabilities is a step towards equipping our spaces to reflect the values of equality and non-discrimination. This must be emulated across the country in India. Earlier this year, We introduced live telecast of constitutional bench hearings and circulation of transcriptions, which has made constitutional debates accessible and intelligible to the people, particularly to the students in schools and colleges. The third session today discusses how the judiciary can use technology more efficiently. As we enter the 75th year of the eruption, it is important that we remind ourselves of our potential. Having given ourselves this constitution, we must empower all parts of our society to nurture its values by raising constitutional consciousness. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. I now request President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Dr. Adish C. Agarwala, to address the audience.
Good morning and Constitution Day greetings to all. Today is a historical day as our Honorable President Srimati Droupadi Murmu has unveiled the statue of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in this highest temple of justice. This was our long-standing demand and has become possible by the efforts of our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, the Chief Justice of India, Dr. D.Y. Chandrachud, and the honorable members of the Building and Prison Supervisory Committee of the Supreme Court, namely Mr. Justice Sanjeev Khanna, Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai, Mr. Justice Suryakant, Mr. Justice Vikram Nath, and Ms. Justice B.V. Nagaratna. Dr. Ambedkar is the chief architect of the Indian Constitution, and it is most fitting that tribute is paid to him on the day that marks the adoption of the Constitution and is the centenary year of the start of his law practice. The Indian Constitution is a living document and it adapts itself to meet the requirements of changing times. What remains constant is the philosophy underlying the Constitution. While the political systems in our neighboring countries have collapsed repeatedly, we continue to be a nation governed by the rule of law and guided by democratic values. The Constitution of India is guided by a strong and independent judiciary. It is the judiciary that provides a level playing field to litigants such that even an ordinary citizen today has the power to question and challenge the might of the state. Under the leadership of Justice Dr. D.Y. Chandrachud, recent times have seen the judiciary rise to different challenges and to meet them with extraordinary determination. Our judges worked hard, even during COVID times, when most countries and their judiciary was not functional. I'm happy that Dr. Justice Chandrachud has increased the number of the working days of the Supreme Court to 190 in the year 2024. We expect that in the year 2025, the Supreme Court may cross 200 working days. Another area where our courts have made great progress is by using technology to increase access to the courts for the common man. The system of video conferencing introduced and promoted by the Chief Justice of India has been a watershed. Since COVID-19, the district courts and high courts of the country have heard nearly 3 crore cases, and the Supreme Court did more than 5 lakh cases in the virtual hearing, making the country a world leader in the virtual hearings. The government, under the unique leadership of the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, with the assistance of the Union Minister of Law and Justice, Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal, has provided complete support to this initiative. The government is also making full use of the technology to augment its efficiency. The concept of e-office introduced by Modi government resulted in completing the process of recent appointment of 3 judges of Supreme Court, namely Mr. Justice Satish Chandra Sharma, Mr. Justice Agustin G. Masih, and Mr. Justice Sandeep Mehta within a record span of 29 hours. We are proud to share that our demands have been received unprecedented support from our honorable judges, as much as could be done at their end, without there being any confrontation. We are also hopeful that soon the Government of India will accede to our request to introduce the Advocates Protection Bill in Parliament in this session, to provide the medical insurance and to make available land for chambers of lawyers. I conclude by assuring the Honorable President of India and Honorable Chief Justice of India that Bar is determined to fully cooperate with all initiatives that help bring people closer to justice. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir. I now request Learned Attorney General for India, Shri R. Venkat Ramani, to address the audience.
Her Excellency the President of India, Honorable Chief Justice, Honorable Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul and Justice Sanjeev Khanna, Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court, Honorable Chief Justices, Judges of the various High Courts, President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, and before that, the Minister for Law and Justice, Sri Megwal, and ladies and gentlemen. Every year, we assemble in solemn affirmation of and renewal of a common commitment to the Constitution. This is a collective exercise. The solemnity will continue to inform the exercise as long as our national tasks remain incomplete and the dharma of equality remain unfulfilled. The nation, its governance institutions, the courts, and the legal fraternity gather to take stock of our performances and to write fresh programs in our constitutional journey. The Constitution Day is a national manifesto day for all. In an article by Baba Sahib Ambedkar titled Mr. Russell and the Reconstruction of Society, he makes a pertinent observation on Indian view of life and its influence on India's survival as an oldest country. He rightly says that there are many modes of survival and not all are equally commendable, and that it is not the survival but the quality and the plane of survival that matters. I think that we need to constantly talk and think about how the quality of lives of people and the working of the Constitution are in constant dynamics, and more particularly for the most deprived and the least advantaged, as John Rawls would put it. While India has progressively managed its constitutional demands of integrity of the Constitution, in the midst of many contested legislative experiments, its flexibility bears strength to its sustenance. These are in a way the unique journeys of the Indian Constitution, and we owe it to the genius of Dr. Ambedkar, among others, who steered the ultimate course of the Constitution. The pledge all of us we will take on this day is a pledge to constantly looking at the quality of the constitutional march and the building of people's faith in its vitality. Many valuable principles and rules have been fashioned and experimented by courts to provide roadmaps on social and economic equality. Significant legislations have been enacted and public policies drawn towards distributive justice. Experiments of various sorts in empowering the deprived sections of the community, empowering educationally and economically, have been undertaken. Given the vastness of areas and the peoples who are in need of attention and support, there are always tasks which remain to be done. But even in areas which have been well attended to, such as access to education or access to justice, several outstanding issues keep challenging the effectiveness of the contents of the law or of the procedures. While literacy percentage has increased, the persistence of interstate inequalities by reason of caste or other status quo factors continue to plague the even tempo peace and progress. The legal education scene, with its problems of unequal quality of outcomes and ill-equipped institutions, demand a ceaseless attention. The need to meet the aspirations of students from private colleges while not compromising on ethics and quality is a task which is being postponed. Even as the legal fraternity is not directly engaged in these matters, they are matters of concern for us. This calls for more and more debates on rule of law, and rule of law is a non-violent revolution. As we bring more and more subjects into rule of law canvas, we bring accountability and transparency into governance, and more importantly, a paradigm shift in our values. I think the bar has slipped a bit from engaging in its social obligations, mandates, and has morphed into a mere litigation engine. I also think it is equally important that the bar invokes the resource of public interest litigation wisely, responsibly, and not frivolously, reducing it to its constitutional value. The tasks before the legal fraternity are many. The legal profession has to enter its next generation of social responsibilities. The profession cannot be a litigation-focused institution. The constitutionally promised benefits of access to justice to all cannot be a mere litigation access. Resolution of disputes and differences cannot continue through the adversarial system. It is the poor, the marginalized, and the economically weaker sections that suffer the vicissitudes of adversarial system, more particularly in administration of criminal justice. The need for a national platform of legal reforms at the level of the bar is urgent. We can act as catalytic agents even outside the Law Commission process. I am pursuing with the government the subject of litigation management policy, and the government has taken the matter very earnestly. I am happy to state that the data collection and analysis work is on, and a policy framework can emerge very soon. I must appreciate the government for its sincere engagement in this subject. With the enactment of mediation law, we need to take a long jump into pushing the mediation philosophy as the major guiding force towards dispute avoidance and dispute resolution. I appeal on behalf of the Indian bar to all governments to prioritize their focus on mediation as the only lasting and economically wise system of settling issues and differences. I'm sure that the central government will take its lead in this regard and travel an extra mile to set examples. I am on the job of activating a national mediation watch with the participation of all advocate generals. These humble efforts can bear early fruits with the active participation of members of the bar. Tomorrow we are going to discuss strengthening access to justice in the global south. While India has scored fairly well in this regard and agenda, and our legal assistance provisions have spread out and evolved, we still need to do further explorations on expanding access to justice beyond courts and litigations. Access to justice and access to legal assistance are twins. I appeal to the well-endowed members of the bar to move away from being distant spectators to being active participants. Those who have done well for their lives should now spend more time beyond everyday rounds in courts. The criminal justice system, with different levels, with all their challenges, invite our instinctive urgent engagement. The sheer weight of load of work in all the courts is eating into its vitals of efficiency and empathy. I think there is a need for an institutional framework at the national level to be the watch person of everyday working of criminal courts. I have suggested to the government to set up a National Institute for Criminal Justice Administration, as the central government has rightly supported the establishment of the National University of Forensic Sciences at Gandhinagar. I am hopeful that the idea of an Institute for Criminal Justice will receive due attention. Finally, we must plunge with expedition into an all-round exploration of the digital world in justice administration. Any amount of expenditure is worth its salt in this direction. The justice needs of different sections of the community, particularly the district and tehsil levels, can be met by digital expansions at greater speeds and achievements compared to the slow pace of work in the physical world. We need a digital gram and local nyayalayas and supporting legal assistance measures. Long ago, Law Commission and said something about the gram nyayalayas. The Attorney General has neither the power of the purse nor the power of a writ of mandamus, but its only strength is the ethical appeals it can wield for the attention of the bar and the government. The bench knows its problems. Courts are alive to their challenges. They are manifold. Emerging challenges to fulfill equality claims that governance spaces cannot be dealt with by simplistic formula, and courts will be alive to them. Many other issues of governance, both domestic and global, are not to be easily scanned and critiqued. All that I wish to say is that none of them can be solved by mere legal or traditional analysis, nor by conservative estimates. While government should open up their minds to radically new approaches to justice administration, courts will be equally attentive to the sensitivity and complexity involved in many areas of governance. In other words, from a cost-benefit analysis approach, we must move towards a benefit-to-cost analysis approach. Greater the government invests in justice, greater the gross national peace index. These and our commitments will be the dharma of justice and the karma of law. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Honorable Minister for State, Law and Justice, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, to address the audience.
आज के इस शानदार कार्यक्रम में हमारे को ऊर्जा का संचार करने वाली भारत की माननीय राष्ट्रपति श्रीमती द्रौपदी मुर्मू जी, भारत के मुख्य न्यायाधीश डॉक्टर न्यायमूर्ति डी.वाई. चंद्रचूड़ साहब, न्यायमूर्ति संजय किशन कौल जी और न्यायमूर्ति संजीव खन्ना जी, मंच पर उपस्थित हमारे श्री आर वेंकट रमणी जी, भारत के अटॉर्नी जनरल, डॉक्टर आदिश सी अग्रवाला जी, अध्यक्ष सुप्रीम कोर्ट बार एसोसिएशन, हमारे सॉलिसिटर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया, ऑनरेबल जजेज ऑफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट, ऑनरेबल रिटायर्ड चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट और अलग अलग हाई कोर्ट से भी यहाँ मुझे दिख रहे हैं माननीय चीफ जस्टिस, और भी इस लीगल फ्रेटर्निटी से जुड़े हुए सब गणमान्य नागरिक भी आज यहाँ उपस्थित हैं। वकील फ्रेटर्निटी से संबंधित भी बहुत से लोग यहाँ उपस्थित हैं, स्टूडेंट्स भी उपस्थित हैं, विशिष्ट अतिथिगण, देवियों और सज्जनों। देखिए, जैसे संजय किशन कौल साहब ने कहा कि हम संविधान दिवस के 75 वर्ष में प्रवेश कर गए हैं। देश जब आजाद हुआ, जब 75 साल पूरे हुए, तो देश ने नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव मनाया। अब जब संविधान दिवस आज है 26 नवंबर, और इसको हम 2015 से पूरे देश में मना रहे हैं, जब बाबा साहब की 125वीं जयंती ये देश मना रहा था, तब सरकार ने निर्णय लिया कि 26 जनवरी के दिन पूरे देश में हम संविधान दिवस क्यों नहीं मना सकते, और उसके बाद से लगातार 26 नवंबर को पूरे देश में संविधान दिवस। अब एक विषय बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण आता है कि 26 नवंबर 1949 को संविधान स्वीकृत हुआ, अंगीकृत हुआ, हमने अडॉप्ट किया, और आज 26 नवंबर 2023 को इस न्याय के मंदिर में जिन्होंने संविधान बनाने में महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाई, जो ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी के चेयरमैन थे, उनकी एक मूर्ति का अनावरण किया है। इसके लिए मैं चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया को बहुत बहुत बधाई और शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। इट इज ए हिस्टोरिकल इवेंट, ये साधारण घटना नहीं है। अभी जब हम उस मूर्ति को देख रहे थे महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी के साथ, तो महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी भी पूछ रहे थे कि इस वकील की ड्रेस में बाबा साहब की मूर्ति मैंने पहली बार ही देखी है। यह भी बहुत बड़ा एक हिस्टोरिकल इवेंट है। एक लिविंग कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का विषय आया, और यह विषय हर जगह आता है। जीवित दस्तावेज है हमारा संविधान, ये आता है, डिबेट में भी आता है। एक बड़ा विषय था बाबा साहब के सामने, जब संविधान को ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी के सामने जब रख रहे थे, तब किसी ने कहा कि स्वतंत्रता पहले ले लो डिस्कशन में, लिबर्टी, क्योंकि फ्रेंच रिवॉल्यूशन में भी विषय लिबर्टी, इक्वलिटी, फ्रेटर्निटी ऐसे आया। बाबा साहब ने कहा ठीक है, उस समय हम आजाद नहीं थे तो हमारे लिखने वालों ने लिखा होगा, लेकिन मुझे पता है कि हमारे यहां समानता पहले आई। और बहस के दौरान उन्होंने कहा वैशाली का गणराज्य इस संसार का पहला गणराज्य, और गणराज्य जब आता है, जब समानता आती है, स्वतंत्रता आती है, भाईचारा आता है, इसलिए मैं पहले इक्वलिटी को महत्व देता हूं। तो आपने देखा होगा संविधान के आर्टिकल 14 और 18 में पहले इक्वलिटी है, उसके बाद लिबर्टी है। समानता शब्द उनके मन में बहुत महत्वपूर्ण था। मैं इस अवसर पर, राष्ट्रपति जी हमारे बीच में हैं, हमारा मार्गदर्शन करेंगे, चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया भी हमारा मार्गदर्शन करेंगे, लेकिन संविधान निर्माण के समय 17 समितियां बनी थी। जैसा भी ये मूर्ति डॉक्टर बाबा साहब और अम्बेडकर की जी बनी, तो 2 जज शायद उस समिति के सदस्य थे, गवाई साहब थे या खन्ना साहब थे, कौल साहब थे, जो भी, ये लेकिन समितियां महत्वपूर्ण होती है, मैं ये खाली इतना इंडिकेट कर रहा हूं। 17 समितियां बनी, 4 समितियों के अध्यक्ष डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद थे, 3 समितियों के अध्यक्ष जवाहरलाल नेहरू थे, वल्लभ भाई पटेल भी कुछ समितियों के अध्यक्ष थे, के मुंशी भी कुछ समिति के अध्यक्ष थे, लेकिन जो ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी थी उसके अध्यक्ष बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर थे। यह महत्वपूर्ण समिति थी, और इस समिति ने जब काम करना शुरू किया तो आप देखेंगे कि एक बार इतने संशोधन आ गए, तो किसी ने कहा इतने संशोधन का करोगे क्या? आप अंदाज लगा सकते हो कितने संशोधन आए जब ड्राफ्ट आया? संशोधन आए 7,635, बड़ा नंबर था। 7,635 संशोधन जब आए तो लोगों ने कहा इसको कौन पढ़ेगा? डॉक्टर B.R. अंबेडकर साहब खड़े हुए कि जिन्होंने भी संशोधन दिए हैं, हमारे संविधान निर्माण करने वाली जो सभा है वो, उसमें भी 299 सदस्य थे, चाहे इन्होंने दिए हैं, चाहे राजाओं के प्रतिनिधियों से आए हैं, चाहे जनता से आए हैं, चाहे वकीलों से आए, एक एक संशोधन को मैं पढ़ूंगा। तब लोगों ने कहा यार ये तो अलग ही तरह के काम कर रहे हैं। सारे संशोधन पढ़े डॉक्टर B.R. अंबेडकर साहब ने, और सारे संशोधन पढ़ करके लाए संविधान सभा में, ला करके कहा कि ये 2,437 जो संशोधन है, मेरे हिसाब से इन पे चर्चा करनी चाहिए, जिसको हम डिबेट कहते हैं, जिसको खंडवार चर्चा कहते हैं। एक एक क्लॉज की खंडवार चर्चा की। उसमें आप देखिए 2,437, 2,437 संशोधनों पे, एक एक संशोधन पे चर्चा हुई। बाकी संशोधनों के डॉक्टर B.R. अंबेडकर ने साहब इसमें इतनी वैल्यू नहीं है, लेकिन इनमें वैल्यू है, तब जाकर के संविधान बना। इसलिए मैं बाबा साहब को तो याद कर ही रहा हूं, लेकिन उन्होंने जब एक चेतावनी दी उसको भी मैं आज याद करूंगा, क्योंकि 25 नवंबर को चेतावनी दी थी, लास्ट बैठक थी संविधान सभा की। उन्होंने बहुत बड़ा भाषण दिया, सभी का धन्यवाद दिया, लेकिन एक कोर सब्जेक्ट है जिस पे उन्होंने टच किया, और आज भी वो चिंतन का विषय अपने भाषण के अंत में, कोट अनकोट है, अपने भाषण के अंत में देश के नागरिकों को देश के सामाजिक व आर्थिक क्षेत्र में व्याप्त घोर विषमताओं का जिक्र करते हुए कड़ी चेतावनी देते हुए बाबा साहब ने कहा, 26 जनवरी 1950 को संविधान लागू करके देश लोकतांत्रिक होगा। वी विल बी द डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री। इसके बाद हमारे देश में राजनीतिक समानता होगी, वी विल एंजॉय पॉलिटिकल इक्वलिटी, मगर आर्थिक और सामाजिक क्षेत्र में असमानता रहेगी। मेरे मन में विचार आया कि ऐसे में हमारे लोकतांत्रिक संविधान का भविष्य क्या होगा? हम इसे स्थायी रूप से स्थापित कर पाएंगे या एक बार फिर असफल होंगे। राजनीति में हम एक व्यक्ति एक वोट एक मूल्य को मान्यता देंगे, हमारे आर्थिक और सामाजिक क्षेत्र में इसे नकारेंगे, अर्थात हम विषमताओं को जीवन में प्रवेश करने जा रहे हैं। वी आर एंटरिंग इनटू ए कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन। हम विषमताओं के जीवन में प्रवेश करने जा रहे हैं। यदि लंबे समय तक हम इसे नकारते रहेंगे तो हम हमारे राजनीतिक लोकतंत्र को भी खतरे में डालेंगे। हमें यह कोशिश लगातार करनी चाहिए कि प्रजातंत्र हमारे सामाजिक आर्थिक क्षेत्र में पूरी तरह समा जाए। मैं अब पीछे मुड़ के देखता हूं, सरकारों ने भी काम किया। आज हम न्याय के मंदिर में बैठे हैं। क्या शानदार कोई जजमेंट पीएन भगवती साहब ने दिया होगा साहब कि हमारे इस देश में सामाजिक आर्थिक असमानता है, कोई आदमी रिट करने के लिए नहीं आ सकता, पैसा नहीं दे सकता, वो पोस्ट कार्ड लिखे मैं इसको रिट मानूंगा। यही बाबा साहब ने जो कहा था उस दिशा में उन्होंने कदम उठाया था। क्या विषय सीएनजी का हमारे ध्यान में नहीं है क्या? दिल्ली में रहने वाले लोग सब जानते हैं कि सीएनजी में कुछ लोगों ने कहा कि दिल्ली रहने लायक नहीं है। क्या हम धुएं में रहेंगे? क्या कुछ मकान होंगे जिसमें लॉन होंगे? आम नागरिक ने ऐसा सोचा। धुएं से कैसे मुक्ति मिल सकती है? मैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट का धन्यवाद करता हूं कि सीएनजी जैसा फैसला देकर के दिल्ली को भी धुएं से मुक्त करने का प्रयास किया। ये सब प्रयास चलते रहे। सरकारों ने भी काम किया, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी काम किया, एग्जीक्यूटिव ने अपना काम किया, तब जाकर के हम लोकतंत्र को मजबूत कर पाए। हमारे आसपास देश आजाद हुए थे, पाकिस्तान हमारे साथ ही आजाद हुआ। श्रीलंका पहले हुआ लेकिन डिस्टर्बेंस, नेपाल में डिस्टर्बेंस, म्यांमार में डिस्टर्बेंस, बांग्लादेश भी कोई ठीक दिशा में चला हुआ ऐसा नहीं है। लेकिन हम क्यों ठीक दिशा में चलते रहे? उसका एक ही बड़ा कारण है कि हमारे पास लिविंग डॉक्यूमेंट था, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, जिसको आज हम मना रहे हैं संविधान दिवस के रूप में, जिसके कारण हमारी ताकत भी आगे बढ़ी, संसार में भी हमारी ताकत आगे बढ़ी, संसार के देश भी हमारा लोहा मान रहे हैं और हम बहुत सी विपरीत परिस्थितियों से भी निकले। कई ऐसी परिस्थितियां आई जब लगा क्या डगमगा जाएंगे, लेकिन हम नहीं डगमगाए। उसका एक ही बड़ा कारण है, वो है भारतीय संविधान। इसलिए जो आज संविधान दिवस हम मना रहे हैं उसके लिए मैं बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं, शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। मैं पुनः हमारे मुख्य न्यायाधीश न्यायमूर्ति डी.वाई. चंद्रचूड़ साहब को पुनः बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं, क्योंकि ये साधारण पल नहीं है। बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर जी की यहां मूर्ति लगना और वो भी वकील की ड्रेस में लगना और वो भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ठीक उस बढ़िया लॉन में लगना, ये ऐतिहासिक पल है। इस ऐतिहासिक पल की बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हुआ मेरी वाणी को विराम देता हूं। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
धन्यवाद माननीय मंत्री जी। May I now request Honorable Chief Justice of India, Dr. Dhananjay Yashwant Chandrachud, to address this august gathering.
The Honorable President of India, Srimati Droupadi Murmu ji, my distinguished colleagues, Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Justice Sanjeev Khanna, my colleagues, judges of the Supreme Court, Minister of State of Law and Justice, Independent Charge, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal ji, Chief Justices and judges of the High Courts, former Chief Justice of India, former judges of the Supreme Court, Attorney General for India, Mr. R. Venkatramani, Solicitor General, Mr. Tushar Mehta, Chairperson of the Bar Council of India, Mr. Manan Kumar Mishra, President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Dr. Adish Agarwala, and members of the Executive Committee, Mr. Manoj Mishra, President of the Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association, and members of the Executive Committee, senior advocates, members of the bar, guests, and last but not the least,
our backbone, the Supreme Court Registry. Namaste. We gather here to honor the adoption of our Constitution. This is a sentence we have heard several times today and will hear several more times over the course of the day. I want to first take a step back and ask why. India already celebrates an Independence Day on 15th August and a Republic Day on 26th January. Why then a separate Constitution Day? The answer lies in the success of our democracy as compared to the countries which gained independence from colonialism at the same time as India. Indeed, the history of decolonization across the world is full of examples of countries that have thrown open the doors of independence only to falter at the steps of self-government. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the architect of the Constitution, and whose statue President Murmu unveiled a few minutes ago, asked in his final address to the Constituent Assembly, what would happen to India's democratic constitution? Will she be able to maintain it, or will she lose it again? India not only maintained her constitution, but also the people imbibed it and internalized the constitution as a symbol of their aspirations. Celebration of Constitution Day thus symbolizes the social life of an independent nation. Our Constitution has allowed us to take the unbridled passions and energy of the people and streamline them through institutional structures of government. So when we say today that we honor the adoption of the Constitution, first and foremost, we honor the fact that the Constitution exists, and secondly, that the Constitution works. The Constitution and its framers successfully channeled the energies of independence to build a ship and chart a course for liberty, equality, and fraternity. As we honor their achievements, we must also recognize our generation's solemn duty to keep the ship afloat, ensure that there is wind in her sails, and continue the journey. The Constitution of India is going to enter into its 75th year since its adoption. The Supreme Court of India, which came into existence on 28 January 1950, is also going to its 75th year since its founding. This moment allows us to reflect on the journey of the past, while also envisaging our dreams and expectations for the future. In the last 7 decades, the Supreme Court of India has acted as a people's court. Thousands of citizens have approached its doors with the faith that they will get justice through this institution. Citizens came to the court to seek protection of their personal liberty, accountability against unlawful arrest, protection of rights of bonded laborers, tribals seeking the protection of their homelands, asking for guidelines to prevent sexual harassment at the workplace, prevention of social evils such as manual scavenging, even hoping for interference to get clean air, food security, and in so many more instances that cannot be summarized in a few minutes. These cases are not just citations or statistics for the court. These cases resemble the expectations of the people from the Supreme Court, as well as the court's own commitment to deliver justice to the citizens. Our court is perhaps the only court in the world where any citizen, no matter who they are or where they come from, can set in motion the constitutional machinery of the Supreme Court simply by even writing to the Chief Justice of India. From the postcards of the paper age to a simple email in the digital age, that is all that it takes to move the Supreme Court for an urgent case listing, sometimes even on the same day. Apart from ensuring that the citizens get justice through its judgments, The Supreme Court of India has been making continuous endeavors to ensure that its administrative processes are citizen-centric, so that the common citizen feels a connection with the working of the court. Courts are now live streaming their proceedings. This decision was taken with the view that the citizen should know what is happening inside the courtrooms. Constant media reporting about the proceedings of the courts indicates the engagement of the public with the working of the courtrooms. The Supreme Court also took a decision to translate its judgments to regional languages with the help of artificial intelligence and machine learning. As of 25 November 2023, the Supreme Court had delivered 36,068 judgments in English from the date of its first sitting. But proceedings before our district courts are not conducted in English. All of these judgments are, true enough, available now for free on the e-Supreme Court Reports e-SCR platform of the court, which was launched in January this year. The platform has been helpful not just for lawyers, but also for law students who may not have the means to subscribe to commercially published law reports. This increased accessibility of the court decisions to the public. Today, we are launching the e-SCR in Hindi as 21,388 judgments have been translated into Hindi, vetted and uploaded on the e-SCR portal. e-SCR Hindi will allow the users to search for judgments in Hindi. The rest of the judgments translated into Hindi are being vetted and shall be uploaded soon. Besides, 9,276 judgments as of last evening have been translated into other Indian languages, which include Punjabi, Tamil, Gujarati, Marathi, Telugu, Odia, Malayalam, Bengali, Kannada, Assamese, Nepali, Urdu, Garo, Khasi, and Konkani. These judgments have also been uploaded to the e-SCR portal. While the judiciary embraces technology, we have also launched e-Seva Kendras in all courts to ensure that no citizen is left behind in the judicial process. Technology is not meant to distance us from our citizens, but to take us into the lives of our citizens. We embrace our citizens as co-equal partners in a shared national endeavor. Last year, on Constitution Day, the Honorable President of India raised the concern of overcrowding of prisons and incarceration of citizens from marginalized backgrounds. Respected President, ma'am, I want to assure you that we are constantly working to ensure that legal processes become easier and simplified so that citizens do not languish in jails unnecessarily. The version 2.0 of the FASTER application that will be launched today ensures that judicial orders of release of a person are immediately transferred to the jail authorities, to the district courts and high courts via electronic means so that the person is released on time. In addition, on the judicial side, the Supreme Court has been hearing cases relating to prisoners' rights and overcrowding, among other things. I've also tasked the Center for Research and Planning of the Supreme Court to come up with a project to improve the conditions of prisons and to improve upon age-old and obsolete prison manuals. The goal behind these initiatives has been to ensure that the people feel that the constitutional institution of the judiciary is working for them. Similarly, the statue of Dr. Ambedkar that we unveiled today in the Supreme Court premises is an extension of the thought that the right to approach the court is the heart and soul of the Constitution, as Dr. Ambedkar famously said. Individuals should not be afraid of going to court or view it as a last resort. Rather, it is my hope that by our efforts, citizens of every class, caste, and creed can repose trust in our court system and view it as a fair and effective forum to enforce their rights. Sometimes we as a society may frown on litigation as a disreputable entanglement. But just as the Constitution allows us to resolve our political differences through established democratic institutions and processes, our court system helps resolve our many disagreements through established principles and processes. In this way, every case in every court in the country is an extension of constitutional governance. मैं आज संविधान दिवस के मौके पर भारत के नागरिकों से यह कहना चाहता हूं कि सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के दरवाजे आपके लिए हमेशा खुले रहे हैं और आगे भी खुले रहेंगे। आपको कोर्ट आने से डरने की कभी जरूरत ही नहीं है। न्यायपालिका के प्रति आपकी आस्था हमें प्रेरित करती है। आपका विश्वास हमारा श्रद्धा स्थान है। नमस्ते।
Thank you, Honorable Chief Justice. Under your guidance and leadership, the Indian judiciary is headed towards electronic advancements and much needed inclusivity. On this special occasion, may I now request the Honorable Chief Justice of India to present the first copy of Indian Judiciary's Annual Report 2022-23 to the Honorable President of India. We hope that this annual report shall serve as a guiding tool for ensuring judicial betterment. May I now request the Honorable President of India to launch the Virtual Justice Clock, ESCR Hindi, and Faster, Fast and Secure Transmission of Electronic Records version 2, which are recent e-initiatives of the Supreme Court of India.
Introducing the Virtual Justice Clock of the Supreme Court of India, a dynamic portal to share case statistics of the Supreme Court for the information of citizens and litigants. It offers a simple, user-friendly interface and can be accessed on the Supreme Court's website. Users can see statistics relating to institution of cases in the Supreme Court of India, along with disposal and case clearance rates. Virtual Justice Clock provides information on age-wise pendency, case listings and clearance rates in each category. लोगों तक व्यापक पहुंच के लिए Virtual Justice Clock अब हिंदी में भी उपलब्ध है। As part of its commitment to enhance access to justice, the Supreme Court of India has commenced translation of its reportable judgments into regional languages. A total of 36,068 judgments have been translated into Hindi by using machine learning technology, and out of these, 20,000 judgments have been made available in the ESCR portal. The Supreme Court of India is in the process of translating judgments in other Indian languages as well. 10,647 judgments have also been translated in other Indian languages.
ESCR हिंदी भारत के सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के निर्णयों और अंतिम आदेशों को अब हिंदी संस्करण में खोजने के लिए एक महत्वपूर्ण पहल है। वर्ष 1950 से वर्तमान तक 20,000 से अधिक निर्णय अब हिंदी भाषा में भी ESCR पोर्टल पे उपलब्ध है। ESCR पोर्टल की मुख्य विशेषताएं इस प्रकार हैं: निःशुल्क सर्च, निर्णय और अंतिम आदेश टेक्स्ट, कीवर्ड और साइटेशन की सहायता से खोजे जा सकते हैं। निर्णय खोजने के लिए एक या एक से अधिक पैरामीटर्स का उपयोग किया जा सकता है। खोज के लिए विभिन्न प्रकार के पैरामीटर उपलब्ध हैं, जैसे न्यायमूर्ति का नाम, निर्णय की तारीख, केस नंबर इत्यादि। संबंधित विषयों के आधार पर सर्च। प्रयोग में आने वाले सभी पैरामीटर चयन के लिए उपलब्ध हैं। सर्च का परिणाम। सर्च के परिणाम स्वरूप न्यूट्रल साइटेशन नंबर प्रदर्शित होते हैं। आदेश पर न्यूट्रल साइटेशन नंबर और उसका QR कोड प्रदर्शित होते हैं। सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के सभी निर्णय और अंतिम आदेश शीघ्र ही अन्य भारतीय भाषाओं में भी उपलब्ध होंगे।
Last year, on the Constitution Day, the Honorable President of India had raised concern regarding the plight of under-trial prisoners. Taking inspiration from it, the Supreme Court has developed Faster 2.0, fast and secure transmission of electronic records. Faster facilitates speedy transmission of orders to high courts, trial courts and prisons, and provides monitoring facilities to ensure its effective implementation. The key features of Faster 2.0 are authentication using Parichay, use of blockchain technology, acknowledgement of receipt of orders, compliance of orders, sharing orders with advocates through the e-filing platform, and dashboard to track orders. Access to different users are provided based on the service requirements. The Supreme Court users can tag orders with cases, assign recipients, and send orders. Order transmission records are stored in the blockchain and are irreversible. The trial court users can receive the orders and update compliance. Prison users can receive and acknowledge orders.
That these initiatives will ensure fast-track services and strengthen the way to access to justice. May I now request Honorable Chief Justice of India to present a memento to Honorable President of India. On this momentous occasion, may I now request the Honorable President of India, Shrimati Droupadi Murmu, to address the gathering.
Chief Justice of India, Dr. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud ji, Judges of the Supreme Court of India, Sri Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul ji, and Sri Justice Sanjeev Khanna ji, other distinguished judges of the Supreme Court, Union Minister of State for Law and Justice Sri Arjun Ram Meghwal ji, Attorney General of India Sri R. Venkataramani ji, President of Supreme Court Bar Association, Dr. Adish C. Agarwala ji, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Namaskar, Johar. I am happy to be here among you on the Constitution Day, an occasion of great national importance. Today, we commemorate the day the Constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly of India in 1949 after close of 3 years of brainstorming. Earlier, this day was celebrated as Law Day. In 2015, as the nation celebrated the 125th birth anniversary of the key architect of the Constitution, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, the Government of India declared 26 November as Constitution Day. The twin aims were to help spread awareness about the Constitution as well as about Dr. Ambedkar's crucial contribution to it. Today, we celebrate the values enshrined in this founding document and rededicate ourselves to uphold them in the day-to-day life of the nation. What are these values? They are justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity, which are specially highlighted in the preamble. These are the principles on which we have agreed to conduct ourselves as a nation. These are, of course, the civilizational values of humankind, finding their best expression in the wisdom of this land. During a collective journey from darkness to light over the centuries, people in different parts of the world have rediscovered the same repeatedly. In our case, it was during the great freedom struggle that we came to realize their importance once again. The people from different corners of this vast and diverse country, to reach the rich and the poor, men and women, the educated and the uneducated, city dwellers and villagers, followers of different faiths, found a common objective in the liberation of the motherland. As they struggled against the foreign rule, they came to appreciate the significance of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. These values helped us win independence. It is no wonder these find a special mention in the preamble and continue to guide our nation-building efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, if there is one word that sums up the four foundational values, it has to be democracy. If we imagine someone from outer space visiting the earth, this creature would be amazed at Indian democracy, the largest of its kind in the world. Consider the phenomenon. Nearly a fifth of humanity has decided to put one's individual destiny in the collective hands of the billion-plus fellow citizens. This is an immense trust, so immense that we fail to notice it is in routine. Moreover, India has been nurturing and enhancing this trust by deepening democracy even since its own freedom. How? By upholding justice, by stressing equality. All possible efforts have been made to empower every citizen, irrespective of gender, caste, creed, and other distinctions. That is why India has had people from highly varied backgrounds occupying high offices and excelling in various walks of life. If we consider gender, for example, the offices of the President, the Prime Minister, and the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, among others, have been held by women. Though their numerical strength is in legislative bodies was less, the long-awaited Nari Shakti Bandhan Abhiyan will increase their proportion too. In the bureaucracy, armed forces as well as scientific and technological research institutions, women's representation has been rising. This is true not only for women, but also for others socially disadvantaged groups including scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. While the place of the judiciary in the constitutional framework remains rather unique, I am confident that this institution too has been welcoming diversity with open arms. More varied representation of India's unique diversity on bench and bar definitely help serve the cause of justice better. hasten this diversification process can be the creation of a simple in which judges can be system in which judges can be recruited from varied backgrounds through a process which is merit-based, competitive and transparent. मैं बहुत भाग्यशाली हूँ। प्रेसिडेंट होने के बाद मुझे बहुत सारे सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटीज़, स्टेट यूनिवर्सिटीज़, IIM, IIT, बहुत सारे अनुष्ठान मुझे जाना पड़ता है। जब मैं देखती हूँ हमारे देश के बच्चे इतने टैलेंटेड है, पता नहीं उन दिनों दुनिया के लोग भारत को कैसे देखते हैं, लेकिन आज भारत को देखने के लिए दुनिया के लोग उत्सुक हैं। मैं बहुत भाग्यशाली हूँ। कभी कभी उन बच्चों से मैं इंटरेक्ट करती हूँ, इतने टैलेंटेड है, मुझे लगता है ऐसे कुछ किया जाए। कभी कभी मैं पूछती हूँ उनको, आप क्या बनना चाहते हैं? कोई तो IAS IPS कहते हैं, कोई कहते हैं नहीं हम जुडिशियरी में जाना चाहते हैं। तो ऐसे कुछ किया जाए, वो बच्चे आसानी से यहाँ आ पाए। मुझे लगता है यंग है, टैलेंटेड है, एनर्जेटिक है, देश के लिए समर्पित है। ऐसे कुछ किया जाए और ऐसे मुझे पता नहीं नियम में क्या लिखा है, आप सब यहाँ मौजूद है। ऐसे कुछ किया जाए कि वो बच्चे चुन के यहाँ आ सके। IAS के लिए कुछ प्रोविज़न है, IPS के प्रोविज़न है, स्टेट में भी बहुत सारे प्रोविज़न है। वो बच्चे अपना कोई UPSC कोई क्या दे करके वहाँ चले जाते हैं। यहाँ कुछ ऐसे किया जाए, मुझे पता नहीं, इन फ्यूचर आप लोगों को मैं छोड़ती हूँ। There can be an all India judicial service which can select brilliant youngsters and nurture and promote their talents from lower levels to higher levels. Those who aspire to serve the bench can be selected from across the country to create a larger pool of talent. Such a system can offer opportunities to the less representative social groups too. I leave it to your wisdom to devise any effective mechanism that you deem fit to achieve this objective of strengthening the justice delivery system. Ladies and gentlemen, the cause of justice is best served by making it accessible for all. This also strengthens equality. We should ask ourselves, especially on occasions like today's, whether every single citizen is in a position to seek justice. On introspection, we realize that there are many barriers in the way. Cost is, of course, the most significant factor. It is a matter close to my heart. That is why I appreciate all the initiatives taken by the Supreme Court in particular and the judiciary in general to expand the scope of free legal aid. Lawyers and civil society to have contributed to it. Then there are other barriers too, for example, language, which is beyond the comprehension of a majority of citizens. I feel reassured by the recent steps taken by the Supreme Court to make the verdicts available in various Indian languages. The live webcast of court proceedings too will go a long way in making citizens true stakeholders of the judicial system. The question of access to justice often reminds me of the so-called Bell of Justice, which often features in our mythological stories. Such tales highlight some king's love for justice by pointing out that he had installed a bell that any citizen could ring at any time of the day if he was seeking justice. When I heard such stories, as a child, I wondered if the king would have any peace of mind at all, with people clamoring for his attention all the time. Later, I realized that such a king would have made the justice delivery system so efficient that the bell would need to be rung only rarely. Therefore, in order to improve the access to justice, we should seek to make the overall system citizen-centric. Speaking to our systems, we realize that they have been products of time, more precisely, products of colonialism. Clearing away its vestiges has been a work in progress. I am sure that we can speed up the remaining part of decolonization in all domains with more conscious efforts. I believe involving the young generation in those efforts by making them more knowledgeable of the Constitution, its making and its working will bear excellent fruits in that direction. The youth has become more interested in our history, and if they learn more about the transformative work of visionaries like Babasaheb Ambedkar, the future of the Republic will be in safe hands. Ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate the Constitution Day, we should know that the Constitution is, after all, only a written document. It comes alive and remains alive only if its contents are put into practice. That requires the exercise of interpretation. I must congratulate the Supreme Court for playing the role of the final interpreter of our founding documents to the perfection. Well aware of their role and responsibility in India's democracy, these courts, bar and bench, have constantly raised the standards of jurisprudence. Their legal acumen and scholarship has been par excellence. Like our Constitution, our Supreme Court too has been a model for many other nations. With a vibrant judiciary, I am sure the health of our democracy is never going to be a cause of concern. I convey my best wishes to all the members of the judiciary in their endeavor. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Honorable President Ma'am, your words are truly a source of inspiration and strength for each one of us. Thank you, ma'am. May I now request Honorable Shri Justice Sanjeev Khanna, Judge Supreme Court of India, to propose a vote of thanks.
I consider it to be an honor that I've been given this privilege to propose this vote of thanks. As we commemorate the 74th Constitution Day, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment in our nation's journey. Indian Constitution has been repeatedly described as a living document because it's part and parcel of our daily lives. It had transformed lives of 350 million people in 1950 and continues to have an indelible imprint and influence on our lives of 1.4 billion people today. Affirmative action, unique federal system with strong center, non-discrimination, and affirmation of unity in diversity, right to education for children up to the age of 14, free, fair, and transparent elections in which about 900 million people participate with a sense of purpose and entitlement, the expansive interpretation of the expression life in Article 21 by the courts stands out and inspires us to chart a course for the future. Today, as we reflect on the objectives of our legal system, we must recognize the pressing need to make our laws more simple and accessible, Secondly, relatable to the younger generation, and more humane. Today, during the course of the speeches over here, the Honorable President had referred to the preamble of the Constitution and the principles enshrined therein. She had highlighted the need to spread legal awareness and rededicate ourselves to the principles of liberty, equality, justice, and fraternity. She had also emphasized on the need for social and gender equality. Cost of litigation was another factor which was highlighted by her. Then, lastly, she referred to the need to involve the younger generation in the judicial process and make them aware of what happens in the courts. The Honorable Chief Justice of India leads us from the front. He's a harmonious blend of scholarly acumen and pragmatic mindset. He had highlighted the need to make the courts a people's court, citizen-centric court, to simplify the procedures and also ease of access to the court. These are important facets of our court delivery system which have been highlighted by him. Justice Kaul is a practical man with a robust common sense. He had highlighted the effect and the need to have constitutional consciousness which must be imbibed by all of us. Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal gave his valuable inputs on the importance of equality and the need for discussion and debate in our society. Mr. Meghwal is closely grounded at grassroots level with the citizens of the country. He today has the baton of interinstitutional coordination, taking it between the judiciary and the executive. I must also express my appreciation for the learned Attorney General's gracious imparting of his valuable insight on a wide range of subjects. He has referred to the importance of the bar and its obligations towards the society and in upholding the rule of law. Dr. Adish Agrawala is the president of the Supreme Court Bar Association, has a close connect with everyone in the bar, regardless of whether they are seniors or juniors. He too has referred to the need to uphold the constitutional principles. As we embark on the journey towards realizing our social economic aspirations and evolve into a more formidable and a progressive nature, we must keep in mind the words of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, which eloquently capture the essence of Indian civilization. Civilization must be judged and prized not by the amount of power it has developed, but by how much it has evolved and given expression to by the laws and its institutions, the love of humanity. Let us all move forward with determination, unity, and optimism. I wish all of you a happy Constitutional Day. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem. The national anthem. I request the audience to wait until the President of India and dignitaries leave the auditorium. I request everybody to join us for lunch.